Hey, welcome to another edition of Spotlight On. This week we are having a special show on for the Southern New York Racing Association. This was for their 9th annual reunion we had this past weekend. This was up at Western Connecticut State University's Westside campus at the O'Neill Center. There was a very large turnout of people, and even though it was a very hot and muggy weekend, we had cars from their old race arena. We had cars from other tracks as well. There was a lot of the fans were taking pictures all day long. They were having a ball. They really were. It was a really good turnout for this. And I mean, we had that many people asking for everything from we're buying everything from photos to programs, T-shirts, hats, and whatever. Tim Hansen was doing the introductions for the drivers this year. Paul Baker was there, but Paul only did a little bit as far as his introduction, unfortunately, because he had fallen previous to the show. And but we did get to talk to Paul for a little bit, and Paul told me that sometime in the near future he wants to come into the studio and talk about his new book, Paul Baker's Race Arena Memories. He had these available at the reunion, and Paul was signing them, and it's about 25 pages long. It gives everything from all that Paul has done for the race, not only for the race arena, but his talks also about his what he's done in broadcasting over the past 50 years of his career. We have I enjoyed reading this last night. There's a lot to it, and if you want a copy of it, you can go to www.snyra.org and look up all the information on that as well. Plus, you can look up all the past reunions from 2002 until present. Plus, there's photos up there from not only the race arena, but there's also photos up there from the fair itself. So please go to the website. It's a beautiful website. You really enjoy it, and this is something that unfortunately. This coming next year, it'll be 30 years that the race arena had closed, as well as the fair. And, the fair was around for 112 years. The race arena started in 1951 and went into 1981, so it had a 40-year run. But, next year we'll have a bigger and better show, so wait for next year. Next year will really be good. We have a lot of things that have been going on the last few weeks. Concerts on the Green. We've been down to there. Also, in Bethel on Sunday nights, they have concerts at the Gazebo. So we've been busy with that. We've also just did Cruise in New Milford, which was at Faith Church. And there was a very good turnout for that. We'll have that coming up on an upcoming show. And just so much has been going on this summer. This summer has been very busy. I mean, we were doing stuff with the Denver Westerners all season long. We've also been doing stuff with the Connecticut Cruise News. They have you can go to ConnecticutCruises.com for all information on that, on upcoming events and shows. We've been doing Marcus Dairy on Saturday nights. And speaking of Marcus Dairy, coming up Labor Day weekend will be the Dover Drag Strip reunion. So please come out for that. That runs usually from like 10 to 4. And there's usually a lot of, Smoke and Grower put on a good show for that each and every year. So please come out to see that. We also have been, gotten a lot of other things that are in the works, so that we're just waiting for times to come up on. So as soon as all that stuff is available, we will pass it along. And you know, we're also going to be getting ready for Taste of Danbury, which will be coming up soon. So I mean, we got a lot of things coming up in the near future. So it's just getting time schedules and things together on that. If you'd like to be a guest on my show, or if you have an upcoming event, you can reach me here at 203-417-7929 or 203-748-5456. You can also reach me at arbor@snetnet or arbor@gmail.com, and you also can reach me at facebook.com. And if you look at my Facebook page, you'll see not only some of my past TV shows, you'll also see photos from the Danbury Westerners, the Race Arena, the Danbury Fair, and much more. Each and every week we are on here on Comcast Channel 23 from at 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights, and then we re-air at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday mornings. Also on Thursday nights is Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View with Dave Swirl and Scott Lewis. So please watch that. That's at 6 o'clock every Thursday night. At 6:30 is Westerner Roundup. Danbury Westerners still have their TV show going, and that's at 6:30. At 9 o'clock on Thursday nights is Ideas and Work and Beyond with Marty Heiser, and that pretty much sums up Thursday nights. As always, if you have an event, or would like to come into the studio, we need at least 2 weeks' notice so I can get the scheduling done. And as always, I'd like to thank Joe Pisanelli, who helps me out with the camera work on the weekends, Candy Roswell and Dave King, which is getting the show going each and every week. And you know, it takes a lot to get, most of the time to get the shows, on the air. And with a good crew, you do a lot. So, but with that being said, we're going to get into our show tonight, and we're going back to in time to relive some memories of not only the Danbury Race Arena, but the Danbury Fair as well. So please watch.
very much, Ms. Baker. I'd also like to add a warm welcome to everyone here. And thank you for taking a moment to begin with our prayer and followed by some other very important events. And I hope you enjoy your afternoon. And so let us take this moment and offer our prayer this day. Dear Lord, on this day and at this place, where the old have come to remember and the young to wonder and marvel, watch over us as we view those instruments that filled so many arenas of competition with sights and sounds that thrilled untold crowds. We pray that you also will welcome those who have passed from this life into your eternal love and peace. Lord, bless this day, bless these people, and bless this cause. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Now to officially open the ceremonies, our color guard. And now, join in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to a republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we begin the ceremonies, first of all, I want to be selfish enough to thank all of the members of the Southern New York Racing Association for giving me the privilege for 23 years of spending the 23 of the happiest years of my life in the booth of the race arena. I thank the club. It's been my privilege to be associated with a lot of prominent figures from the world of sports. None of them can compare to the figures of the Southern New York Racing Association. What you did for our community, the entertainment you provided, will never be forgotten by those of us who were fortunate enough to experience the race arena. Some of the drivers are here today and others will be coming. We're indebted to the members of the press, the News Times, the radio stations, Charlie Mitchell from the Norwalk Hour, who has been a big help, in the News Times for all of their help in putting this thing together. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank one person most of all for the effort he has put into this reunion. That's Dave Morehouse. I'd like a nice appreciation, a hand for Dave Morehouse. People sometimes say, how do these things come together? I found out more this year than I ever did about what it takes to put on this reunion in dealing with Dave and his committee No one loves this association more than that committee. And again, I, in behalf of the audience, thank you, Dave, and your committee for your great efforts in the reunion. For those of you, there is a concession over there. They have the programs, booklets, and other items, and among them, I'm humbled to say that many of you have stopped by to get a copy of the book that I wrote. This is something I wanted to do, should have done 20 years ago. It brought back so many wonderful memories for me writing it. I hope it'll bring back as many memories for those of you who read it. The copies are still on sale at the other item. I'll be there for as long as my body, aching as it may be, will allow me to sit. I had a little problem a week ago today, but I wouldn't miss this for the world. So I'll be looking for you at the concession. I know you're going to have autographs, I believe. Is Timmy going to take over now? Tim, I can only stand for a short time, so Tim Hansen is my TH. So thank you again very much for everything you've done for me and for my family. Paul Baker.
Also not mentioned today was a member of our committee that put a lot of effort and time in over the years is Millie Godfrey. She couldn't be with us today. She's not feeling well. However, we just want to keep her in mind and have you think about her. She's very instrumental on how far we've gotten. She's one of the loyal race fans and a wife of a former member. So just want to keep her in mind. Also, in a little while, we are going to have the driver autograph session right up here. We're going to be calling up the drivers in a very short period of time. If they'd like to make their way to the tables at this point, that would be appreciated. So if there's any of the old Danbury drivers, we're going to do an introduction on stage first, and then if they can make their way to have a seat at the table, we will do so. So at this time, all the drivers, the former drivers, please report to the stage.
Right, at this time, we'd like everybody's attention up here on the stage. We're going to do the former driver, and some still full-time drivers, introductions. First across the stage, a man you'll all know if you remember back in the Danbury days, driver of the Deuce, Kenny Webb. The former number 33, Ed Berry. Here's a man, they have a book out about him. Mr. Andy Montanari. This man needs no introduction. Mr. Ernie Marshall. Driver of the old Hislop, number 56, Billy Boo. The 1980 point champion and former driver of the Terriano 32, Mr. Art Davis. Here's a man that came all the way up from Sarasota, Florida. He still was racing up until 4 or 5 years ago, Mr. Goose Andela. In the day, you can stop and get your donuts at his sponsor, the Donut Time, number 92, Irv Straighten. Mr. Chaos himself, the former driver of the Purple Sun Studios, number 25, Mr. Nick Jardina. official at some point in Southern New York, Mr. Lou Payne. I didn't recognize him without the hair. He looks very good, very young and dapper. Mr. Billy Leda. Standouts in the number 98 in the sportsman class, Mr. Pat Waldron. Here's a man about the world. Still competes to this day. Driver number 9, Mr. Don Moon. And number 4. Did you change your number? Former driver at the Danbury Race Arena, still runs with Near. Has 2 of the old cars you see on the display here today, Mr. Jim Torrey. Took me a while to read his sign. Former driver at Danbury, Mr. Art Knapp. I was too little to remember half of these guys. This guy's another guy who doesn't need an introduction. He had a lot of fans back in the day. Mr. George Rezatek. Former driver at Danbury, drove the number 89, Lou Judson. Oh, look at this guy. He's already standing in the wings. Former driver of the 14, Mr. Danny Archeri. This was one of the funnier guys in the pits back in the day. You either loved him or hated him. We all loved him. Mr. George Booley. From the old Playville Stadium, he decided to come run Danbury because it was better racing. Mr. Bill Greco, driver of the 43. Here's a man that's after our own hearts. Drove the 209 and the 74 for years and years, Mr. Ev Pierce.
Give him the mic.
You know what I mean? And it's so good to know that owners and drivers and fans are still with us from the club in the good old days at the Danbury Fairgrounds.
Once again, Mr. Ed Pierce. Driver back in his 70s, Dick Beckenbach. This next driver started out when he was very young. Matter of fact, they held him after school, made him come back a couple years later. Mr. Johnny Kerslake. number 7, Mr. Frank Lucas. Here's a guy that took over for one season for Mr. Dick Barlow. Mark Wazowski. I wanted to get it right. Oh, here's another one. Mr. Pleasant himself, Larry Badaracco. All right, this next one might take a couple minutes. He's always after me, this guy. Former driver of the Perps Cafe number 77, and later on, the number 7, the one and only Mr. Jim Leary. Former driver back in Danbury, I remember when I was little, Mr. Rich DeVigny. Here's another driver that nobody can forget. Won multiple championships, and he was an awesome man, Mr. Don LaJoy. I believe that will conclude our driver introductions. They will all be up here at the table. If you'd like to come see him, stop by, say hello, get some autographs. Don't forget to visit Mr. Paul Baker over there with his book. And stop by and visit all the different displays. This year's Best Appearing Award, the number 52, the former Sean Donnelly car owned by the Evons. Every year we give out this award. We have a non-biased judges. Every year we pick 3 people during the day to go out and solicit and pick their cars. I'd like to thank those judges that helped us today. We're going to be coming up doing a raffle very shortly. If you haven't got any tickets yet, please do. Stop by and pick up whatever's left on the memorabilia table. We'll talk to you in a little bit.